I know. I was like, ah. So hold on, I gotta
All
go
right.
let my doggies in.
Okay. All right. And there's Jason. Perfect. Make sure I've got everybody on my list. Stacy. All right.
Yeah,
Are you there, Jason?
I think so.
All right. Well, welcome.
Let me check.
Okay.
Yeah, 672 personalities here. Okay.
All right. Well, we will go ahead and call this meeting to order. As a reminder, we will be doing a roll call vote for each of our votes, and I'll run through the list. And when I say your name, please repeat your name and give us your vote. The first item is call to order, and I will also just read our list. So we have Rosa Cavazos,
Rosa here.
Eric Deecher,
Eric's here.
Renee is not here, Erica Price,
Erica here.
Jason Schultz,
Present.
and Lauren Tice Miller is here. And then we have Matt Hirsch,
Present.
Sarah Hoyer.
Present.
We also have Tiffany Kench,
Present.
Stacy Bell,
Present.
Ed West,
Present.
Scott Dial,
Present.
and Nathan Hofstra.
Present.
And we have Stacy Giebler.
Present.
Perfect. All right, we'll move on to approval of the agenda. And it looks like we have 3 minutes as well. So we can do agenda and minutes. Is that okay, Sarah?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay.
Move for blanket approval.
Okay, got a motion by Jason. Do I have a second?
Second by Eric.
Second by Eric, and we will move to a roll call vote. Rosa Cavazos,
Rosa, yes.
Eric Deecher,
Eric, yes.
Erica Price,
Erica, yes.
Jason Schultz,
And I.
and Lauren Tice Miller is a yes for a 5-0 vote. All right, moving on to communications, comments, concerns from patrons. Sarah, did we have any emails today?
No, ma'am.
All right, we'll move right along to action items, business by consent.
Jason moves the approval.
Okay, I've got a motion by Jason. Do I have a second?
Rosa
I'll second.
I've got a second by Erica, and we will move to a roll call vote. Rosa Cavazos,
Rosa, yes.
Eric Deecher,
Eric, yes.
Erica Price,
Erica, yes.
Jason Schultz,
And I.
and Lauren Tice Miller is a yes for a 5-0 vote. All right, moving on to item B, approve memorandum of understanding with Southeast Kansas Education Service Center.
This memorandum is from Greenbush. They give us classroom space at Project Plus for our SHARP program, which is our alternative high school program. The $10,000 is the same as we paid in the past year, so no change there. This service is about 15 to 16 kids in a year, so we recommend approval.
Okay,
This is Eric. I move for approval.
got a motion by Eric. Do I have a second?
Rosa, second.
A second by Rosa. If there are no questions, we'll move to a roll call vote. Rosa Cavazos,
Rosa, yes.
Eric Deecher,
Eric, yes.
Erica Price,
Erica, yes.
Jason Schultz,
Jason and I.
and Lauren Tice Miller is a yes for a 5-0 vote. Moving on to C, approve contract with Southeast Kansas Education Service Center.
This contract is for hearing impaired, visually impaired, orientation and mobility services for the 2021 school year. This is no change from the contract we had last year, so it's the same services and costs. We recommend approval.
Erica, motion to approve.
Okay, we've got a motion by Erica. Do I have a second?
Eric, second.
Second by Eric. If there are no questions, we'll move to a roll call vote. Rosa Cavazos,
Rosa, yes.
Eric Deecher,
Eric, yes.
Erica Price,
Erica, yes.
Jason Schultz,
And I,
and Lauren Tice Miller is a yes for a 5-0 vote. Moving right along, we'll move to discussion items. Interim superintendent's report.
Started out by giving you an update on the task force. You might have seen, came out today, we did a survey of our families. We decided we needed to get some information out sooner than later, and get some information for us sooner than later for our task force on what families were thinking about attending school. Were they planning on definitely attending in August? Were they definitely not going to attend in August and wanted to do a remote learning option, or were they unsure at this time? And so we sent just, we wanted to keep it as brief as possible and simple as possible. And I think last time I checked, the responses are coming in quickly. So hopefully we'll get some good data this week to get that going. We needed that information, especially for our high schools and middle schools. They've got to spend some time creating their master schedules. And so if we know we have a certain percentage of our kids that might be leaning toward that home learning, we wanted to get that to them as soon as we could. So hopefully that'll get them some data they can use. Where we're at with the task force process, on Thursday, I believe the KSDE is going to release their document to the state, their draft document. This is a draft of it. Last I heard, it's up, we were talking 500, 600 pages. Now they're talking up to possibly 1,000 pages of information. And that's going to be both logistics on how to run your buildings in this time, and then also curriculum instruction information. So that should be coming out in draft form to review and to start working on. Friday morning, all the area Shawnee County schools are getting together to sit down and go over plans with each other. The Shawnee County Health Department would like for us to have plans that are closer to each other than not close. They would like them to be fairly similar. So we're going to actually sit down Friday after we get the state stuff and kind of go through our plans together and see what everybody else is doing. So when we kind of finalize our stuff, we can use that information. And then Friday afternoon, I'll be meeting with all the chairs of our task force here at Shawnee Heights, taking all the information we've got and kind of going through it all so that they can then go back to their individual groups and do a final run through of what they want in their plan so we can make a final plan. So that's kind of where we're at in the process. We're kind of in that process of finishing up and getting everything compiled together. So hopefully we have a good week with that. Driver's education, if you hadn't heard, driver's education did start. The county let us get going on that. Some of the logistics are they can only have 2 people in a car, the instructor and the student, that's it. They have to wear masks at all times, and they can't drive for more than 30 minutes. And whenever possible, they want the windows down. So probably interesting driving for them. We're actually, I believe they were planning on meeting off campus, maybe at kind of the Dillon's complex there in 29th and California, so they could get closer to town. If you start at Shawnee Heights and try to get somewhere, it takes some time. So 30 minutes wasn't very productive. So I can't remember where they decided to meet, but somewhere in that 29th and California area, if I remember right. Online enrollment, we put out an email that's going to be delayed a little bit. Looking at July 10th, was the date we moved it back to. A lot of that was due to Power School was providing us some data, and they didn't have their stuff done yet for us, so we backed it up a little bit. It shouldn't affect our enrollment much. People tend to be pretty good about getting that done, but it did push it back a little bit. That's one of the reasons we also decided to do our survey of families. Is we thought about putting that in Power School with the enrollment, but that would push it back quite a bit if we waited till the 10th to do that. So we put that out today. Update on summer projects. Football stadium lights are in. If you haven't seen them, they're much smaller than the old lights. They're all LEDs. They're now working on programming those, and I'm sure they're moving through that process pretty good. Those lights will have a lot more features than the old ones. They'll be dimmable. They can turn on and off different ones. So even like halftime shows, you can do some special lighting things for those and things like that. So pretty excited about those. And it should be much brighter. Tecumseh North, where a lot of our work's happening with HVAC. They did get their new HVAC unit in and turned on and tested, and looks like it's running well. So it should be good. About 95% of their lights are in and complete. So that's going well. We'll be starting on the middle school lights if they haven't done that already. So working that way. Main campus parking lot lights, about 95% complete. Those will also be LED and controlled remotely, just like the football stadium lights. So there'll be some more features on those than we've had before. And then Tecumseh North, they had a re-roof through capital outlay, and I believe that meeting for the pre-construction meeting was last week. So we're getting moving on that one. Scott Dial, congratulate him. He started here recently, and actually his first day in office today. So excited to have him. I'm especially happy to have him picking up some projects from me, and we're training him quick and furious. So he's getting going.
Thank you.
Negotiations, we'll have a negotiations meeting tomorrow night. So we'll talk in executive session what we're going to be talking about in that one. So I'll give you more information on that in a little bit. And I wanted to finish up with some discussion on prom, post-prom. Mr. West and his committee at the high school has been working on this and definitely have ideas on how they can run it. But with some of the recent increases in COVID-related stuff going on around the state and especially in the area, I think there's a lot of concern with running prom and post-prom. He gave us a lot of information, and Ed, as we're going through this, if you have anything to add, please do. But we wanted to kind of run it by the board and see what your thoughts are. It's not going to be a vote or anything, but just if you have thoughts and opinions, let us know. That'll help Ed and myself to help make a good decision on this. When I met with Shawnee County Health early last week, about mid last week, his comment from Shawnee County Health was that the cases were skyrocketing. Skyrocketing is a pretty intense word. And so when we said, what's that mean? Just to give you a feel for it, new cases of COVID in the week of June 14th, there were 57 cases. The next week, it went up to 115 cases. So almost double. And 57 was right in there. That was a fairly high number actually for most weeks. So 115 is huge, and they're still going up. Hospitalizations, for the most part, have been around 5 to 8 in the last month or so, a couple months. Last 2 weeks were 10 and 13 for hospitalizations. So the number of hospitalizations going up. And the number of deaths was the highest week so far with 11 deaths. So lots of concern in the area. I know the governor came out with a lot of information wanting to maybe go with the mask for everybody. And so lots have been coming out about that. So this poses some concern for us with prom and post-prom, mainly because of the time frame. Ed, July 25th was the date we're planning on doing prom, post-prom, right?
Correct.
Correct. So that's 1 week after that is graduation. So let's say we got a bunch of kids at prom, post-prom. We know we're going to probably want them to social distance as best we can. We're going to want them to wear masks. We're talking about a 4-hour event. You can all guess the odds of our success on getting high school kids to social distance and wear their masks for 4 hours, whether at prom and post-prom. The county has shut down dancing in the bars and things like that, but we're going to try to do dancing, probably concerning on our part. We would have it on the football field if we did it. We would do our best to maintain that distancing and maintain those kids doing what they should do. But if that got out and kids were passing around, COVID, and people started testing positive 1 week from then's graduation, we would really, really hate to have a crew of kids not go to graduation. If I had to pick one event over the other, it's definitely graduation. And I think Ed's probably in that same boat. And we'd hate to see that passed around to families. Colleges are going to be starting soon after that. So concern about will kids be able, if they start passing this around at those events, is that a concern? The other thing, kind of thinking through with it, is, yeah, we got prom, post prom, but then most of these kids will be having graduation parties, and most of these kids, everybody will be at graduation. Does that set them up for something as they start school and start their careers, whether it's Army or whatever, that could set them back a few weeks if they come down with the virus? So lots of things to kind of be concerned about. Ed did do a survey of his students, the seniors, and overwhelmingly about 2/3 of them said, yes, we would like to have it. I think the results were 63 seniors that answered said they wanted a prom or post prom. 26 said they wanted a yearbook distribution, which could be a little less contact oriented, so it's still an option probably. And then 9 said neither. So about almost 2/3 of them were still interested in the prom, post prom that replied. But that's not even a third of the group, that probably about a third that replied or so. Ed, am I missing anything before open up for discussion, or?
No, I don't think so. You hit the high points. We talked back in April and May about having this event. And again, right before we started the heavy planning, we sent that survey out that you just referred to, and that would have been in late June or so. And it's just really since then that we've seen that uptick of things has opened up. As you mentioned, across the state in our own area. I personally, in terms of wearing my principal hat, personally, I'm aware of more issues just in our own Shawnee Heights community in the last couple of weeks than I was March, April, May, and the first half of June combined. So we have been equally as impacted as the rest of the state has as we've opened things up. And for all the reasons that you mentioned, I'm less confident about being able to offer a safe event in terms of the virus than maybe what I'm comfortable with. But as you said, we do our best. We have it outdoors. We'd have the largest dance floor in the United States probably. I appreciate your guys' willingness to share your thoughts. So thank you.
So as we go into question, comments from the board, if you have opinions, thoughts, we'd love to hear them, and we'll use those to make a good sound decision for everybody. That's all I got.
Okay, well, we'll move on to comments, concerns from board members. Erica?
Mr. West, I feel the same way you do. If you would have asked me if we could have a successful prom back in, late May and early June when things were looking up, and then all of a sudden, as we creep closer to the start of school, it seems like these numbers are, like Mr. Hirsch said, skyrocketing, and it does make me very nervous. Those are my thoughts.
This is Eric, and I agree with Erica on that. I think look at the guidance that we're going to get from our local health, state health. I think we need to follow their guidance. And I'd love to see our kids be able to enjoy, to have some type of a normal event, but I think we need to look at in the long term what this can do to them. So I trust you guys, I know what your judgment will be. So not an easy decision to make, and probably not going to be a popular decision to be made, but trust you, and I know you'll do the right thing for what's best for the kids.
Jason, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I was. I had a thought on the tip of my tongue and it decided to jump ship before I could grab it.
I hate when that happens. Rosa, were you going to say something?
I was just gonna say I agree. I mean, it's just so unfortunate, but I'm in agreement. I think that our health officials know what's best, and I think Mr. West has, is doing his due diligence to make sure that he's kind of crossing everything that he can, and I have to trust that you guys are doing what's best for the kids and our students and staff and parents that would be out there, and so. It's just unfortunate that everything this year has happened. So, but you're right. I mean, I'd much rather hope that that we can do something for graduation. And even though this takes away from the kids, I know, kids and families are just as excited about the possibility of a graduation. So just err on caution. So thank you, Mr. West, for putting all that time and work into trying to make this happen for our students.
This is Eric again. I know that the middle school, they had planned on having some promotional type celebration. And then that got canceled.
Yeah,
Okay.
they canceled it. Yeah.
because of all this. So, and my son being an 8th grader, I said, how important was it, for that? And he says, we're okay with it, not having
Right.
it. I mean, he gets it. His friends, they get it. So, so again, I gotta know that you and the team will make the right decision. So, and I'll support it.
Yeah, I've had an opportunity to talk to a few students, and when I asked them, would you rather have prom and post prom or graduation, and they, without even pausing, they said, I'm not going to do anything to risk being able to have graduation. And so that spoke pretty loud and clear to me that, it is unfortunate, and it is very disappointing. I was really hopeful even 2 weeks ago when Ed and I were kind of talking about this, that we could have it outside, and what better way to use our football stadium than to be able to host this event outside and maybe do it safely. But the more our numbers went up, the more nervous I got. So yeah, I'm really thankful for Ed and everybody's leadership and rethinking some of this to keep our kids safe. I think right now we all need to stay focused on getting our doors open, because it's going to be here before we know it, and we want our kids back in, hopefully as safe as possible. So I think you guys are leaning in the right direction.
What more can we say?
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate your input.
Thank you. Before we move to executive session, I did want to just say thank you everyone for the participation in the board retreat on the 27th. Sue has sent Matt and I some initial recommendations, or her report from the retreat. I haven't had an opportunity to read through it yet, but I know that we will be sharing it with the board as soon as we have a chance to. So I thought it went really well, and I'm really thankful for everybody for coming. If we don't have any more comments or questions from board members, we'll move to executive session. All right. I move the board adjourn into executive session to discuss matters related to negotiations pursuant to the exception for employer-employee negotiations under the Kansas Open Meetings Act. And the open meeting will resume at, how much time do we need, Matt?
Oh, let's say 10 to 15 minutes tops.
Okay, so do we want to come back at, let's see, 7:40?
They gotta be fine.
Okay, and it'll just be the board and Matt coming in with us.
We're gonna have Sarah in there too.
Oh, and Sarah.
She can help talk numbers.
Okay. So do
Second.
I've got a, okay, I've got a second from Jason, and we'll do a roll call vote. Rosa Cavazos,
Rosa, yes.
Eric Deecher,
Eric, yes.
Erica Price,
Erica, yes.
Jason Schultz,
Jason, I.
and Lauren Tice Miller is a yes for a 5-0 vote. Tiffany will be sending us to our breakout room.
Sarah, did you hear what time they were coming back?
Okay, we are going to extend our time. Did we want to do 5 or 10 minutes? We'll just do 10 minutes. We'll go to 7:50. Do I have a second to extend time to 7:50?
I'll second.
Second by Erica, and we'll do a quick roll call vote. Rosa Cavazos,
Rosa, yes.
Eric Deecher,
Yes.
Erica Price,
Erica, yes.
Jason Schultz,
Aye.
and Lauren Tice Miller is a yes for a 5-0 vote. We will return to executive session for 10 minutes. Okay. Move on to our next executive session, and I have that I move the board adjourn into executive session to discuss personnel matters. Pursuant to elected personnel exception under the Kansas Open Meetings Act, and return to open meeting at, how much time do we need this time at?
5 minutes probably.
Okay,
We can
we'll
go.
return at 7:55, and Sarah is coming back in with us.
Yes.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second,
Second by Jason. We'll do a quick roll call vote. Eric Deecher,
Eric, yes.
Rosa Cavazos,
Rosie, yes.
Erica Price,
Erica, yes.
Jason Schultz,
aye.
and Lauren Tice Miller is a yes for a 5-0 vote. We'll return in 5 minutes.
Everybody back?
We're back.
So I propose that you approve a motion to use contingency funds to pay the outstanding severance contract.
So moved, Jason.
Motion by Jason. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Erica. And we'll move to a roll call vote. Rosa Cavazos,
Rosa, yes.
Eric Deecher,
Eric, yes.
Erica Price,
Erica, yes.
Jason Schultz,
Jason, I.
and Lauren Tice Miller is a yes for a 5-0 vote. All right. If we don't have any other items to address, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Eric, so moved.
Motion by Eric. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Jason. And last roll call of the night. Rosa Cavazos,
Rosa, yes.
Eric Deecher,
Eric, yes.
Erica Price,
Erica, yes.
Jason Schultz,
Jason, I.
and Lauren Tice Miller is a yes. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody, and be safe out there.